There was this one video. I don't think it was America's Funniest Home Videos, but it was like one of those like clip shows they used to air on network TV. And it was this woman, and she had like 7 chihuahuas.
Oh God!
And they were like yipping, and she was like yelling. It had to have been like the dog whisperer or whatever. Yeah. And he was like, "You're whipping them into a frenzy by telling them to stop." And she was like, "Stop it! Shut up!" And they just keep going back.
Oh man.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is what I'm watching, True Blood, Season 3, Episode 11.
Fresh Blood.
Sure. Lafayette and Jesus wake up from their trip. Jesus is all about it, wants like a fucking virgin
to go
wants to go right back in. And Lafayette is trying to talk him down, and he's like, yeah, that happens. Jesus is very adamant that they like time traveled and that it was like religious and spiritual and all that. I don't remember fully, and I think it's a big part of what we explore in season 4. Yeah. So I don't know, but
that's where I learned the word bruja.
Sure. But I was going to say, I think it's sort of like ayahuasca. Isn't it sort of one of those things where it can be both? Yeah. It can be both recreational and spiritual vision questing.
Ayahuasca is only meant for spiritual walkabouts. You're not supposed to take it recreationally.
But my point, people do.
Well, yeah.
So I don't know whose side I'm on in this regard. I guess
probably
Lafayette's
seeing things still.
Don't make me go back alone.
Look.
I forgot about that.
Stop.
I remember there being a scary face, but I didn't remember that. I remembered with Jesus that there was a scary face. I did not remember how scary it was and that it happened now. But it lunged at Lafayette. He attempted to play it off, not very successfully.
Not while he was still cowering in the corner of his sofa. And then basically forced Jesus to leave.
Kicks him out.
Yeah.
And then goes to bed and then wakes up to all of his totems on his altar dancing and chittering and mocking him.
Oh
yeah, it's his little altar.
We need you. Lafayette.
1 out of 10.
Don't recommend.
It could be worse, but not much.
That face could also be there.
And Jessica and Hoyt are going steady again.
Yeah.
She does confess that she killed the trucker, and she could have done a better job explaining it, although Hoyt was not bothered at all.
No. The problem is that while on the one hand, I enjoy that Bill is taking responsibility for Jessica, finally, he is sort of infecting her with his martyrdom. And so her being like, you don't understand what I've done. And Hoyt being like, it ain't no thing.
She powers through it, though. But basically, she's like, it's before I understood how to feed and like the repercussions and all that. And she's like, I gave True Blood a try. It didn't work. It's the real thing for me or nothing. To which Hoyt offers himself up.
This is what I really am. I tried, but I can't live on True Blood. I drink human blood.
Drink me.
I like the way that was shot. Literally rips the shirt up and goes, drink me. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. I touched on it in the previous episode, and then you kind of commented when we were watching this time that I really enjoy the gender swap. Like the gaze is a little bit role reversed with the two of them.
Well, it's like they start shooting it from his perspective of her creeping up him, sort of like a predator, but then they shift to like an above her thing, and it's just like, it's such a cool shot of her, and she she's got such long limbs too that she looks kind of like cryptid while she's doing it too. It just was like a really cool shot, like a really neat.
But like when you consider like traditional,
it's always
gender,
the man
sexuality,
doing that,
optics. It's like she's the, for lack of a better word, aggressor in a lot of this stuff. And he's totally fine with it. And we did get a tidbit that Summer was largely acting on Maxine's orders.
What are you doing here at this time of night?
It didn't work, Miss Fortenberry. Hoyt doesn't want me.
Dagnabbit. I could wring his big old neck. How could I bring up a child so willful and dumb?
Easily with these.
I'm sorry I failed you.
Don't you dare give up. We are not finished.
Yeah. On the one hand, Melissa Rauch does such a good job selling
I just want to
it.
like Summer, and this taints Summer for me. And I'm just sort of like, I'm back to my like, girl, go, like, don't change anything. Just do it not here with this person.
The problem too is or I guess for me, the main issue is like, if she had somehow gotten to Jason before he found out about everything, she would have worked gangbusters for Jason.
What could have been, because this crystal shit is not
crystal shit. But but here's the thing, because of how much Melissa Rauch was willing to do just to like keep Hoyt as her boyfriend, you know that she would get into some kinky shit for Jason.
Let you go in the back door.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But she's talking to Maxine and she's like, I baked for him and I did this and I showed him my best underwear. It's just, but she's like, but I'm not tall. I can't even reach my closet without a grabber. I love it.
Also, Maxine Fortenberry stays in top form. She's horrible, but I love her.
No, but she actually is being very sweet to Summer. She's like, it's not you. Don't even. It's not about you. Don't worry.
He ain't seen The Last of Us.
Yeah, right.
Not by a long shot.
Surprise, bitch.
Kind of a good Arlene episode.
Some people like to pray before. I don't know if God's on board for this.
You'd be surprised.
Talk to your mother spirit. I can't. She'd kill me. And talk to the great mother. She's God too. I never thought of God as a woman. But if you're with me tonight, maybe you are. And Mama, if you can hear me, would you listen for once? You gotta know this is the right thing to do. It's the only way to be sure that Renee will never pass his sickness on to the world. Kobe and Lisa and Terry will be safe, and the baby won't have to be a crazy killer. I'm doing what needs to be done.
A great Arlene episode.
Yeah. She's been, we touched on it a little bit, where Arlene has gotten next to no plot this whole episode, this whole season. But her presence, Carrie Preston has been making her presence known and felt. And I remember liking Holly. I like the Holly stuff. They kind of do a little ritual for like an abortion ritual.
And a little tea.
And Holly warns her that it's like in the hands of the goddess. So like, she's like, you might not miscarry, but you should or something. And it's in the hands of the goddess. And so Arlene does have an incident.
She's bleeding a lot.
And they take her to the doctor, and the doctor confirms that the baby's still in there, and Terry is thrilled.
Well, Terry's taking it super hard when she like tells him that she's losing the baby. I couldn't remember which way it went. I thought she still had the baby, but I couldn't remember. And I just like feel so bad for Arlene, like making her carry a serial killer's rape or baby is just like.
But I'm on Terry's side with this, because it's like she's putting, I mean, I guess it's her right too.
She's putting a lot of like
her like the trauma that she hasn't worked through yet. She's putting
the baby.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I think it, because I think in season 4, I think the kid bites someone or something, and it like brings it back up for her. She's like, he's obviously evil.
He tasted blood. Although it does seem, well, we'll get moving on to the next plot. Sam bottoms out, or continues to bottom out. I guess he drank all that whiskey.
This is the bottom.
Yeah.
Moron! What you looking at, huh? Mind your own goddamn business. Jesus Christ, you're ugly.
I mean, this feels like it's been a long time coming.
Is it just because he downed that bottle?
Where's my whiskey?
He's having just like a generally bad time.
Okay.
But he does bite his tongue about everyone's nonsense constantly.
Fucking whiskey!
But I mean, like, I think he was hammered from finishing off that bottle of whiskey. And so he goes into Merlotte's for like the second day in a row and raises hell and like cusses everybody out. And at this point, the town was kind of treating it like dinner and a show. And then he like made everybody leave and everybody quit. And Tommy is like, again, I guess it's all valid, but it's like Tommy is testing boundaries.
No, it's not. It's not. It's pathetic and it's gross.
But I mean, like, I think that like a teenager acting out in that way, like, checks out. But also, now's not the time.
Yeah. Is he a teenager?
I mean, I think he's meant to be like 19.
Okay.
He wasn't, again, set up for success.
Yeah. No. Okay. So the thing is like, so Sam comes back.
Emotionally, he's 7.
Yeah. There's like a lot of stuff happening concurrently because Tara comes in and she confronts Andy Belfleur. She's like, I know that Jason killed Eggs and blah, 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 blah. She seems to kind of make peace with it when Andy sort of breaks down because he's like, I never wanted it to go that way, but Eggs was determined to die and Jason didn't know anything and it just all happened.
But it's just patented Tara because
it's bad writing.
Well, because again, what we're going on is that Eggs is a victim.
Yeah.
Red,
I've never been.
And so it's like from her perspective, she finally had a connection with this person who also went through trauma. And then on top of that, went through second trauma with her.
Yeah, the same trauma as her. Yeah.
And then, you know.
Plus, they like escaped a cult together.
Yeah. And then through an interaction with law enforcement, he was killed when he didn't need to be. And so it's like her anger and frustration about the situation is righteous. However, we also, again, the audience, have been in Andy and Jason's shoes
the whole time.
And we understand that though what happened to Eggs was wrong and a tragedy,
there was no avoiding it.
I mean, I guess kind of.
And so then it makes us frustrated with Tara and it makes her feel, again, it's bad writing for Tara.
Because I think, I think she's right because she's basically saying you should have told the truth. You're a bad cop. You covered it up like you, and it's like, okay, I mean, yes. I just don't like having to think about this stuff.
Well, it's also, no, I mean, just like only in the context of the show. That's how I do stuff with Buffy, where I'm like, outside the context of this supernatural show, obviously, yes. But in the context of this supernatural show, the whole plot makes
We're seeing
Tara
it as like
stupid.
Jason and Andy were kind of cut a luck break. Like their luck sort of fell in line. Mm-hmm. And they were able to get through this thing.
And if it's the type of thing where they're trying to make a commentary on how white men fail up, then they've done a bad job of that, too.
Because we shouldn't be rooting for them. I don't know. Maybe this is how we're meant to feel.
It doesn't seem like it. It's just, and the thing that bothers me the most, I think, is after Andy confesses the whole thing to her, and feels really bad.
Because then she kind of becomes smug.
Well,
and, like,
and not even
jaded
necessarily
again.
smug, but it's like, then it's as if everything is water under the bridge. And like, she's totally 100% A-okay now when she gets talking with Sam after he kicks everybody out. And at that point, I'm like, oh, so your Franklin trauma is gone? She's smiling, laughing. They're like teasing each other. And then they go, fuck. And I'm like, it's been like 3 days. What is it's like so inconsistent. And I just think it's the writing that's bad. The writing for Tara specifically is bad. Because again, it's like you said, we've had this information about Andy and Jason the whole time. And so by not giving Tara that information until now, it's weak writing because you're purposefully making her dumber and less informed about the situation that's affecting her, as opposed to demanding answers from anybody. She had to wait. And that's the thing, too. She just like she's smug before Andy admits it because she's just like staring at him, trying to stare him down while he very adorably is like, do you want my onion rings? And that's the part that makes me the most mad, because she thinks she knows something and she doesn't. And that's the thing where she's like, you thought you were going to get away with it. And I was like, he literally would have if Jason hadn't shit the bed.
Mm-hmm.
You had no clue about this. And now you're acting like you've known all along, and like Andy Belfour better watch out for you. Like, no, it's so boring. That's where I'm at.
Well, and it also, you're right. And it's like Tara is treating Eggs like the tragic figure that he is. Mm-hmm. But to us and the rest of the show, he was a loose end from the Marianne plot.
Yeah. Well, I think he could have fit into the show.
That's the other
which
thing.
sucks.
Why is he, like, why?
Exactly.
Like, why are you going to kill off a character that way?
Yeah.
And use it as an opportunity to, what's the term that we always say?
Fridging?
No.
Oh.
To assassinate a character that you have.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I just would have rather to have had Makad Brooks on the show.
100% agreed. And I think the part that I like the best is the part where Andy says, if I could go back, I would change it. Like, I would get the knife away from him. I would get the gun away from Jason. I would, I would do X, Y, and Z. But then he's like, but he was determined to die. That's the important part, is that like Eggs couldn't deal with what he had done.
Because it wasn't like neglect on Andy's part.
No.
But it's just a mess.
Yeah.
The whole thing is just a mess.
Yeah.
And you're right. And it is a little bit hard when once that confrontation is over. You're right. Tara sort of resets back to season 1.
Yeah.
To her last spawn point. It goes right into
Tara's last save point. And that's the thing, is like, I don't hate season 1 Tara as much as I hate this whole nonsense, but at the same time, it's like it's so weird that she appears to just be now over everything that happened to her, because she finally found out what actually happened to Eggs, and she's fully comfortable having sex with Sam, and just, again, it's like all smiles at the bar.
Comfortable is not a word I would use. I think it's more I think it's more old habits. I think it's more not regression, but just sort of like screw it all, like self-destructive.
Yeah, I don't necessarily get that vibe, the self-destructive vibe from her end about it.
I was gonna say, I'm getting it from Sam.
From Sam, for sure. Tommy's also robbing the safe at the end of the episode. He's cut the wire to like get in there.
Jason is having a hard time with Crystal. Finally.
Me too.
Yeah.
He like leaves because he's looking for Sookie.
Yeah, and then he just goes to the football field and sees Kitch practicing, and it's pretty clear Jason figures out that he's doing V.
Yeah.
And then they have a confrontation.
I'm taking you down, boy. I'm gonna tell you, coach, your mom and daddy, and your principal.
My coach is the one who gave me the V.
Bullshit.
My parents are paying for it. My principal, he uses it for his sex life.
That ain't fair. I was an athlete out there. I didn't get help from nothing or nobody but my team. You know, athlete, you never will be.
That's funny. See, there's a scout from LSU coming to the game, especially to hand me a scholarship. See, I won't have to stay here and join the chain gang like you.
Kitch!
I'm gonna blow your record to smithereens.
He's basically like, I'm going to tell on you. And Kitch is like, well, the principal's doing it and the coach gave it to me. Everyone's on it. Nothing's going to happen. And Jason is like, well, that's cheating. My record still stands. And he's like, nope. And then he carries Carlson Young away like a sack of potatoes.
She's doing amazing.
Yeah.
Because I hate her. But yeah. And so then there's more optics with the vampires because Sookie's in the basement and like Bill gets her out and ties up Pam, but then Ginger frees Pam and Yvetta steals everything, and then Russell and Eric come and get Bill, and then they go back to Fantasia. And there's a lot of like this.
Yeah.
And basically they tell Russell that she's a fairy. He's very unbelieving.
Yeah.
Which
especially
because I get it.
If the fairies have been gone for 1,000 years, he's 3,000 years old. So he would have lived in a time when the fairies were plentiful. Mm-hmm. So he should believe that that somehow they still exist.
I guess if it's been that long, he could be like bullshit, but God has horns.
That was so good. I forgot about that.
But they were like, the fact that she's half human has been how she's been able to tamp it down.
Yeah.
And so they do convince him that the fairy blood lets you walk in the sun. Is Eric's martyrdom just more of this, like, avenging his parents?
I think at this point, it's mostly like it's the only way to get it done. Yeah. He's not dead.
No, I know, but it's very Bill 101.
No, I don't think it's that at all. Like, I would never paint them with the same brush, like, at all. It's not, he's not.
Pam's beside herself.
Well, she's sad, but I don't think he's not trying to die. I think it's more of like a suicide mission where he's
but I
like,
think he jumped to that too soon.
Well, sure, maybe.
That's what I mean. Like,
could be.
There's no other way, you know, it's okay.
Yeah.
And so they drink from her and he goes out to prove that it works. And then Russell comes out and then they handcuff themselves to each other.
Well,
and
Eric handcuffs Russell to
Sure.
him so he can keep him out there.
But I'm just sort of like, where's Ginger with like a drop cloth to like throw over Eric? And I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it was the ironclad plan that they were.
No, there's a whole episode left. I mean,
it was entertaining and the things were happening and characters were talking. Like I said, it was the secondary characters that got good material this episode.
Yeah.
And so that part was fun.
Yeah. Crystal is also still insisting that Jason go back with her to Hotshot to help the kids because they're gonna do like a DEA raid or something, and it's gonna like be another Waco because Calvin and Felton are gonna burn it all down with everybody inside.
This is the first time that she said something about being engaged to her half brother, though. I mean, it's been implied, but they haven't actually talked about it up until this point. And I feel like this was the first where obviously
I have not been implying it.
No,
I've been
you've
stating
been saying
outright
it.
that it's full of incest and not the hot kind like in House of the Dragon. It's just Emma Darcy and Matt Smith. I'm so into it.
The show's been very clear that there is a connection between Crystal and Jason.
Yeah.
But this is the first where Crystal's like, you should come sleep over at my house. And I was like, no, we're going to stay at the Stack House.
No, thank you.
You know that one friend is like, no, let's stay at my house.
Yeah. We all had that friend. Like, do you want to sleep over? What if you slept over at mine? And in the morning, the eggs tasted like they're supposed to.
You know, eggs, like food and not nothing. Oh, boy.
Oh, brother.
So, yeah. So they lie on the ground and await their burning.
Be brave. We'll die together.
Doesn't seem like a foolproof plan.
That's lifted directly from the synopsis.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
That's fun.
Okay, we're going to watch the next episode.
Bye.